Hello. Welcome to another 10 distinctive facts video where we explore topics and areas to unearth information which otherwise would not be so popular or known. In today's series we will uncover a topic which associates in all which we do not prefer, would like to be associated with or even want to experience. As humans evolved, civilizations emerged, and nations were born, there were many turns taken in history. All was not good, as there were turns and twists which turned nations against humanity. Sometimes certain extreme lengths were taken for personal or political pleasure. We will discover the 10 most inhumane nations in history through diving into reasons and facts behind such unfavorable yet life-learning times. Number 1. Qin Dynasty. The Qin Dynasty was known for its inhumane reputation credited to its first and foremost leader, Qin Shihuangdi. He was responsible for uniting China under his power in 221 BC. Qin's inhumane style of ruling commenced through his ideology of merciless killings of scholars whose opinions did not gel in with his. He also burnt books of critical and important nature which did not appeal to his thoughts. His thinking and strategies of selfness endured death to those who would come across as a threat or hurdle. While constructing a great wall in which 6,000 life-size terra-cotta soldier figures were placed, Qin ensured secrecy of the tomb by killing those who were part of the making. Qin left no inhumane action when it came to his personal preferences. Another tactic he implemented to ensure his supremacy was to castrate captured individuals of another country to mark them and turn them into slaves. Number 2. The Hunnic Empire. Attila was known for taking power after mercilessly killing his brother. His impression made him one of the most feared leaders of his time. His ruthlessness, lack of fear and ability to think beyond common torture was the prime foundation behind his success of conquering vast lands. He managed to take over present-day Germany, Ukraine, Russia, and the Balkans. He also tried invading the Gaul with the intention of conquering it, but faced defeat at the Battle of Catalaunian Plains. "There, where I have passed, the grass will never grow again," is a famous quote said by Attila, as he reportedly remarked on his reign. This quote can be the source of multiple understandings, especially how he perceived himself and what was around him. Number 3. China. A prominent ruthless and inhumane leader in this case is surprisingly a woman. Yes, a woman. Wu Zetian was not a ruler from day one. In fact, she was once a concubine as a 14-year-old, but that changed. Wu went from 14-year-old junior concubine to Empress of China. The thirst for power and satisfaction of being a leader led her to make her nation inhumane through her approaches in life. She went to extreme measures of getting what she wants by eliminating any hurdle or obstacle which came her way, whether it be opponents or even her own family. Execution was her preferred strategy to end her hurdles. Although her impulsive and merciless attitude seemed inhumane, there is another side to her story. Her ruthlessness did grow the Chinese Empire through expansion and received praise from historians. Hand-picked chosen military leaders by Wu went soaring high in command over respective regions. It is not usual to hear of a woman who not only led but was also inhumane in her tactics of ruling. Wu is one of few women who are named in history for that. Number 4. Mongolia. Genghis Khan had a rather unpleasant and deprived childhood credited to his father being poisoned to death and himself being raised as a slave in his teenage years, but that was to change. He was quick enough to strategize a plan and unite the Mongol tribes and further went on to take over a massive part of Central Asia and China. His ability to gain power rapidly led him to develop a taste for inhumane tactics such as slaughtering civilians en masse. A prime situation to further elaborate on his ruthless way of ruling is when he massacred the aristocrats of the Khwarezm Empire, decimating the ruling class, with unskilled workers taken to be used as human shields. Genghis Khan is usually known for being an outclass ruler, but the bloodshed and lives lost behind his success is not normally discussed or thought of. Number 5. Spanish Inquisition. Torquemada was appointed Grand Inquisitor during the Spanish Inquisition. He made tribunals in many cities, devised 28 articles to guide other inquisitors, and encouraged torture to extract confessions. A strategy he used upon King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella to give Spanish Jews the choice between exile or baptism, resulted in many Jews leaving the country. His tactics were the source which historians estimate to be about 2,000 people burning at the stake. The burning at stake is one of the miserable fates faced by his people. Number 6. Afghanistan. Timur, a man who became an emerging and eventually powerful leader, was known for his violent measures on certain occasions. He was known for leading military campaigns through a large chunk of Western Asia, including modern Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and Syria. His vast expansions led him to establish the Timurid Empire. His violent and inhumane measures are recorded in certain situations. In present-day Afghanistan, he ordered the construction of a tower made out of live men, each stacked on top of another, and cemented together with bricks and mortar. It does not stop here, he also once ordered a massacre to punish a rebellion. His aggression was the ultimate result of 70,000 heads built up into minarets. Number 7. Romania, previously known as Wallachia. When Vlad III finally became the ruler of the Principality of Wallachia, the region was in a disorganized state due to the many arguments and disputes by boyars. According to the stories brought down, Vlad devised an inhumane plan of such nature where he invited his rivals all to a banquet, which naturally would not be expected of gruesome nature, but he proved it to be so. All rivals were stabbed and doomed to be impaled. Unfortunately, Vlad III was known for favoring impaling as his most preferred and favorite method of torture. Although it may sound merciless and unfavorable, his ruthless strategies did result in the expansion and stability at times in Wallachia. Number 8. Russia. Ivan IV initiated his rule by rearranging the central government and restricting the ease of power of the hereditary aristocrats, the princes and the boyars. Prior to the death of his first wife, Ivan commenced his reign of terror. His first step in this dreadful terror involved the act of eliminating top boyar families. The merciless list did not stop there, unfortunately it spread to the reach of his own family. Beating his pregnant daughter-in-law and killing his son in a fit of rage is one of the unfortunate results of his way of rule. He earned the nickname Ivan Grozny, aka Ivan the Formidable, which has been mistranslated to terrible. His nickname is a clear indication of what reputation he had in his nation. Number 9. England. The sole offspring of the notorious King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, Mary I became Queen of England in 1553 and soon brought back Catholicism, after previous rulers championed Protestantism, as the primary religion. Soon after she married Philip II of Spain, a Catholic. The next few years seemed bloody, as hundreds and hundreds of Protestants faced the end of their lives by being burned at the stake. The burning of many people and many other strategies earned her the nickname Bloody Mary. Number 10. Belgium. King Leopold II strategized the idea of finding the Congo Free State as his own private colony. This further on went to be a source of growth derived through major fortunes through inhumane practices. Such practices include forcing the Congolese into slave labor for ivory and rubber. The idea behind this was no free and being forced into this slavery to benefit the king and his personal and national desires. The result of such self-centered actions cost the lives of many, in fact millions, through some starving. The birth rate hit a low as men and women were separated, and thousands of people were shot in failed rebellions. The time between 1880 to 1920 was deemed as the time when the population significantly fell by 50%. The idea of forced labor system did not end here, instead it spread to other nations and countries such as the German, French, and Portuguese officials. The list of countries and their characteristics and practices which landed them in the list for being inhumane speaks a lot of historical information, nations and communities. If we closely observe, we notice how some inhumane nations were actually successful in certain areas such as maintaining discipline, controlling issues which could birth a war or even change the monarchy. The tactics implemented define the personalities of the then leaders and how they perceived their nation.